Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everybody, it's been a week since I've done a video. I was busy over the weekend and couldn't push out an update of my predictions. So it's been a week. Let's get started here. Here's Microsoft. You can see that the price action recently looks to be bullish from this long-term trend down here that you can see. It's a one-year chart. Let's switch over to the daily view. I'm going to remind viewers where last Wednesday was, because that was the last time I made a video. So let's see. Today is here. Last Wednesday is here. Okay, so last Wednesday at the close, the red candle, you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit for us. Okay, the red candle closed right on this, the top of this gap here. And what we can see is my annotation from last Wednesday was downward movement. My prediction was a rejection where the top of this, I'm still learning how to annotate and use this trading view as a educational tool. Usually I just map things offline. Okay, so this red zone here, this pink horizontal highlight is the top of the gap. I felt that it would prove as resistance and that price would fail and come down, use this lower green line here as support for maybe a week and then ultimately fail. What we can see is the price action has been all up here. Okay. Now I want to highlight for you that there's overhead resistance here, which I didn't think would come into play, but it did. Okay. And due to that, price has, was rejected for the first time. This candle here, this green one. And then today and the past couple of days, it's come back to attempt to retest this up here. So let's look carefully at the RSI to see if there's something that RSI could tell us. So we can see, I'm going to zoom in. Now let's look down here at the RSI right here. So you can see with the price action up here, the high up here, compared with the RSI here, it's right there. And wow, this annotation tool, it won't even allow me to make a circle. That's a circle. It's horrible. Anyway, maybe I should try the highlighter. Does that make a better circle? It makes like a rectangle. Okay, so this point here, compare with this point right here. Okay, to me, it looks like it's going downward. Let's zoom in down here. Well, it won't, so let me just do it this way. Okay, so you can see that this point here is high and it goes, the RSI is going downward to this one here. All right. Whereas for price up here, let's look back up at the top. Okay, so these two green candles, we've got this guy here, this candle here, the top of this one, and the top of this one. They're pretty much even. Okay, we don't have to look at it from an exact standpoint. Let's zoom in, see if we can get a feel. Wow, it's pretty even. Okay, it's about 425. My point is, RSI is waning. It's bearish compared with the bullish price action. So what's going to happen? I think Microsoft is going to retest the trend line that's above it. It's going to go up to about almost 430. The next couple of days, retest it. And there will be further divergence down here at the RSI. It will fail up here. I'm just going to be straight up. It's going to go up, hit that, fail. These lines are horrible. Give me a second here. There are other ones here that I can try to use. Okay, so maybe I'll use this arrow marker. So it's going to go likely to come up this way, yeah, and then it'll fail, likely fail. Okay, so here's the overhead resistance, likely fail. So for those who are wanting to go long Microsoft, long being you want to hold, buy low, sell high. Let me zoom out for you and take a look at the longer term time frame. Let's go to the weekly. And on the weekly, you can see that price is coming up to this resistance line, which I've annotated, trend line. And it even shows it down here on the RSI. Okay, this guy is it's like this, right, on the RSI. So momentum is waning. I would be cautious about going long here. If anything, this would be a really nice short. So I'm going to pay attention to it myself. And for those who are also paper trading, this would be an objective short up here where the blue arrows are. If it goes up there, let's look at our percentages. So from where the green candle is right now up to here, it's only 1%. So really, tomorrow at the open, I'll probably test 430. I'm going to take a short tomorrow. So I'll take a short with a stop above the trend line give it a little bit of room because it's an objective area to short. Okay, so that's my thesis for Microsoft. Switching to gold miners, GDX. Today is big move, in fact. Last 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's been bullish. You can see all the green candles. Let's go to the monthly. Yeah, so you can see it right there. Let's switch over to the daily view and remind us where my prediction was last week on Wednesday. So last Wednesday, let's see, let's look at where Wednesday was last week. Friday, Thursday. Okay, well, that's today. This is today's big candle. We'll talk about it. A week ago was, okay, here. So we were at resistance up here. So I'm going to remind you what my prediction was. At the close of last Wednesday, let's zoom in so we can talk about it more clearly. At the close of last Wednesday, which is this right here, I said that there was bearish divergence with price action retesting this upward trend line. Okay, this trend line, it's the red. There it is. It's up here. That's the trend line. Okay, so my thesis was lower prices. Indeed, that's what happened. You could see that price got rejected here, and then it did what I thought it would do, was that it would go down lower and come down, hit the 200-day. 200-day moving average is here. This is the blue line here, 200-day moving average. So it would come down here, probably use that as support. In fact, it dipped below it. You can see with the red candle from yesterday. And then the buyers stepped in today and bought it up with some veracity, some strength. Okay, so then it might make us think that this is the right time to buy in, right? Because wow, look at the green candle down here, which is not the green candle, the green volume bar down here, with 35 million shares exchanged today, which is a lot compared with yesterday's 29 million and the day before 25 million. So, quite a bit of buying today. But let me explain why I think this is not the time to buy. I wanted us to either buy it right here at this 200-day. If you got that entry, right, then good for you, because today's price action gave you a nice, like 4.5% move, okay, in and out. The reason why I don't think it's a good move for us to take a long now is because we're chasing price. Don't chase price. There's not a lot of room up here. So price has between where it closed today and where the trend line is about 1.5%. Not a lot of room for it to go up before it hits resistance again. Okay. Let me remind us about this overhead resistance line, right? This one here. Okay. Let's see how far back it goes. So I'm going to switch to the weekly. Okay, so here's the weekly view. And you could see that this line here, price bounced off of here, used it as support, so it validated this trend line. And then even here, it validated it. It bounced off of it here, some strength to sell down below it. I mean, this is a legit trend line. So until this trend line gets broken, as in price gets through it with a lot of strength and volume, I would expect price to be rejected at it. So here's my thesis. I'm going to draw it here. Okay, let me delete last Wednesday's thesis. Actually, let's review it real quick. Last Wednesday's thesis, I said 200-day, bounce off the 200-day, then head upward, right? Bounce up, boom, upward, did that. And then I also said, if price were to go down further and get down to this trend line here, this would be the beautiful entry. This is where I want to go next. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this one. Let's delete this one as well. I'm going to leave this here. Actually, we'll use the annotation arrows, which the blue ones, they look pretty nice. So I will go like this and say, I think price will come up. Yeah, retest that. Okay, at the same time, there's the overhead resistance. Move this over a little bit. And then it'll get rejected. So I think it'll go like that. I would love for it over the next week to come back down to this trend line down here, around the 29 zone, for us to take a long. Okay, if anything, there's even a better entry further below, perhaps at the upper edge of this gap, or even my preference would be the bottom edge of the gap. Let's put another one of these here to show you my thesis. Okay, so this is GDX. I'll zoom out a little bit for those who want to take a screenshot. Okay, my suggestion is don't chase price. Don't chase price, because the RSI down here, the action hasn't changed. There's no bullishness right now. It's still continuing off of this bearish signal right here on the March 11th. Okay, let's switch over to ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil, lots of green candles over the past since mid-January. You can see that. All right. So the question is, will it continue? My thesis a week ago, so this is today, a week ago was here. Okay, so this candle here. So it's this candle with the wick. Okay. So I thought that the price for us, the area for us to go long would be down at this trend line support. I didn't want to chase it. That's just how I am. I don't like to chase price. So at that spot there, I didn't want to chase it. Okay. Didn't want to chase here. Instead, I wanted to wait for it to come back down here to take a support, to take a long off of support. Ideally, it would have been this entry here on the red candle, right here, this red candle. Perhaps on the hourly. Let's switch to the hourly. Okay, so on the hourly, yeah, so I mean, the entry could have been perhaps somewhere here. Okay, that would have been a nice entry. But of course, they didn't let us do it because the next day they gapped it up. That's how market makers do it, move price. They don't ever give you the best price. They want to confuse everybody. But let's stick to this hourly view real quick, okay? Because I want us to see together what RSI is depicting for us. Delete this. Okay. So right off the bat, I'm going to draw trend lines because you can see trend line. Let's go like this. This is how I would depict it, and I'll explain why. Okay, so down here at the bottom, yeah, that's the beginning. It's support, support, support all along the way here. Okay, there was a moment where price sold down in this spot right here. Okay, that's where price sold down, but it didn't stay there very long. It reclaimed the trend line, and once it did, it stayed above it. Okay, that's a good thing from a bullish standpoint. But what we do see, if I can delete some of these, there. Okay, what we do see is this spot right up here on the hourly. So to me, this is what's going to happen. On the hourly, you could see that price failed right here, only to come back and retest, okay, from below. That's a key price action maneuver that shows that, okay, this trend line is being respected, and now from underneath. At the same time, check out the RSI below. Okay, so you can see that price up here, right, constantly moving upward. Okay, that's easy to see. But then you can see RSI, it was moving upward here in this zone, and it starts to flatten out. And to me, it wants to turn downward. Okay, it hasn't fully done it yet, and here's why: the market makers are going to push price all the way up. They're going to retest the overhead trend line. That's just the way it happens. They like to do that. So my thesis, switching over to the daily here, my thesis is they are going to buy it up and retest this up here as resistance. Okay, let's switch over to the weekly real quick. I want to take a peek because I would love to go long ExxonMobil, but I don't want to chase it. You know, once you miss an entry, you gotta be patient. So let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. So to me, see this thick trend line that I've drawn here. This one right here, right? Thick trend line, and it goes back. How far does it go back? Okay, so it goes back to early 21. So for me, at the moment, I'm not going to go long. I missed the entry back here, right? We missed this move here. Let's go back to the daily. Right, we missed the entry, which is fine, happens. Right? If we had gotten the entry down here off of support, that would be like a 6% move all the way up here. Okay, but it's coming into resistance. So I'm going to prepare for what I think would be a good short opportunity. Okay, so the short opportunity would be at the resistance up here to play it back down to where this green line is down here. I'll move it over like that. Okay, in which case, once it comes down here to this green line, we might consider taking a long. That's all dependent on the RSI because right now RSI is pretty overbought. You can see it, and I think it will get more overbought as price moves all the way up here. Okay, so be patient. Well, we can make money on the long and we can make money on the short. The idea is protect and grow your money. That's my mantra for our channel. Okay, let's switch over to Bitcoin. This one is ripping, but is it losing momentum? Okay, so remember a week ago, my thesis was, let's find the date. Okay, so today is here, which is Wednesday the 20th. A week ago was right there. Okay, and what did I say? You can even see my annotations. I'm kind of tooting my own horn. So my prediction on that date was a move from here downward to this trend line here, and look at that. Okay, with the ultimate long-term downward move to down here. So you can see price went down 3 successful days. And then what did it do? It came back and retest. Actually, let me zoom in. So my prediction was here, right? It would come down here. My prediction was price would come down to this trend line, this support line of 62,500-ish, okay? Attempted it here, 3 successful days, and then it came back and retested resistance. See this resistance line that I drew here? It retested resistance from below. That's exactly what price action is. You gotta learn it, and you have to believe in this method. So it tested it from below. Okay, boom, got rejected here, got rejected right there on that day, and boom, further selling yesterday. Okay, with decent volume. Check this out. Well, I mean, this is Bitcoin, so Bitcoin volume is typically low as in number of shares exchanged, but this is 5.3K, which is nothing compared to other stocks. And then today, what did it do? Today, it was bought back up. And to me, it's an attempt to bust through this line again. Attempt to bust through this line of resistance. Okay, I drew it for a reason. So what does this mean? This means, as always, don't chase price. Okay, if you couldn't get an entry down here at 62,500, then right now isn't the time to do it because it's coming up into resistance. What I think would happen, because the RSI has not shown a change in direction. So these red lines that I've drawn here for the RSI back in March, this is this one right here and back in March, and this one here, going back since also early part of March, like the rest of the month of March, is all downward. And there is no change in momentum down here to show that bullish action is what is driving, bullish momentum is driving price action. It's not like that. Instead, it's the market participants wanting to move price in a certain way to pull in naive investors to go long. So right now, my thesis is it will come up here, right? Price will come up, retest from below, if it even gets up there tomorrow. It trades 24/7. It may not even reach it. So I'll make an even tinier candle because arrow. I don't even think it'll reach it. Instead, it'll get rejected. Okay, get rejected, and in which case it'll come back and retest this 62,500, and we'll see. Okay, so for now, 62,500 is a bit of support. I'm going to draw a little bit of support, not a lot, because I'm not convinced in the long term that it's a valid support. I actually think it'll test it, and then over the next week, that it will fail, subsequently fail. Now, if you want to short Bitcoin because of the entry point, right? Because I've been looking at another ticker called MicroStrategy. There's so many Bitcoin ETFs now, so you don't have to look at MicroStrategy. You can look at the other Bitcoin ETFs. I suspect they'll be moving the same as this Bitcoin US dollar. And I think price for those, it might be an opportunity to short. If the price action looks like this and the resistance lines are similar, then it would be an objective short if it comes to this point up here, at least in this annotation at 68,500. Short up there to play it down to this 62,517. So what is that? Let's take a look. From here to here, that's about a 8% move. Okay, so just put your stop tightly. All right, so that is my prediction for Bitcoin, and you've seen the other stocks here. Let me know if there's a particular ticker or industry or sector that you're wanting for me to analyze. I think I have energy to do videos for one more ticker. Okay, maybe healthcare. Let me know in the comments. Thank you. Bye-bye. As always, remember that my content is for educational purposes only. It's not investment advice. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And when you subscribe, please do hit the bell icon